All right, everyone. Should be. All right, heard myself there. That's good. Let me mute myself quickly. All right. All right, I'm going to quickly just tweet everything out here. Give people a quick second to get in here. And then we'll get started right away, moving this from obviously Sunday when it normally happens to Saturday. Tweeted that out on the website, more or less trying to just get a little bit more time on the weekends to myself. And as I said in that email, in return, I not as time constraint on when to start. So if I click this, that should work. Oh, hi. Got to clean up back there if I'm going to do more of this. So again, if you guys are new here, essentially what we do is we take an hour, two maybe. We talk about the markets. I do a technical analysis, market wrap up of what I think is going on out there, things I'm seeing, things that I think are important to keep an eye on, everything like that. From then, we go and we take a look at what we are seeing in the short videos. Sorry, I was looking at some. The short videos that we did last week, which are essentially these videos I do on the channel once a day where I say, hey, I finished my scanning. This is the one stock that kind of caught my eye the best. And then from that, I then go and say, okay, now that we understand that this is, all right, so again, this is what we're looking at for the market. This is what the trades last week that I shared publicly kind of produce for you guys. And then we scan for the next week. At the same time, we hang out. I answer questions about trading, about the markets, about anything that you may have. And we try to get that wrapped up in around an hour, give or take. It's actually really nice outside, so I'm actually going to open up the window there a little bit, let in some fresh air. Okay, so now that that's done, I click this button. Perfect. And you'll be able to see my screen. So as always, right, this is Trend Spider charts that I'm going to use for scanning. Here is Trade Ideas software that I use for everything else, scanning, auto trading, back testing, everything. So, I need to add something here. I need to add, and I want to add a watch list because I want this to be my watch list right there. And we'll talk about everything I see in that. So first, let's start with the markets, just in case people have to go, and that's something that interests them the most. Let's go through this scanning for what's looking at this week, starting with Bitcoin. So we talked about last week. Oh, I don't want that there. Where is this? This RSI. Get it. That playing with new indicators is fun. So we talked about last week how I was shorting Bitcoin. That was kind of, I guess, in this area, give or take, right here, in which we're just talking about basically things are looking a little bit toppy, right? It's getting to the point where everything is so yeah, just basically showing why we're interested in Bitcoin here, why the short was more or less a breakdown of this rising wedge that was going on right there. There was also an RSI divergence coupled with that ascending wedge. That was the main reason for my short. I've been covering in bits on the way down. I think we could go lower. I think we could definitely go and retest this low volume area that occurred right through here, which would kind of put us at this prior low and this prior high. And that's in the $42,000 area. I'm not calling for the end of the world, but I'm a trader. So if I was just long and praying, that really wouldn't work out too well. So, we've had this monster run. Maybe it's time for a little bit of a pullback, maybe retest 30,000 or 20,000 would be kind of a worst case. If we got under 20,000, that's when we'd have to have a bigger conversation about the state of Bitcoin. Taking a look at the SPY, all-time highs, right? There's really not much more you can say about it than that. Maybe not all-time closing highs, but all-time highs, right? We pulled back a little bit in the week. Everyone was calling for the end of the world again. It's like every time we take a slight pullback, everyone's like, oh, that's over. Time to short. So I've seen people buying the inverse indexes and all this craziness, trying to short everything they could. It's just, right, pull back into an incredibly strong market that has been an incredibly strong market since November. Right, we had this kind of breakout and retest of this area here I still have marked, and after that off to the races. So when I'm looking at the overall SPY, this would probably be the healthiest thing we could do over the summer, is just a nice kind of sideways chop base to give us a little bit more energy to move higher. But I'm not going to bet against this market. If we do start to sell, I'm going to watch this high and this high here. That puts us in kind of the 395-ish area, I think would be the area to watch, but there's really nothing to write home about. Now, I always like to go over to Koifin, which is a great free website that allows me to do things like this, where I can take a look at the U.S. sector breakdown over the last 5 days. So what this is bringing up is essentially a line chart for all of the different indices, because I want to know what indices are performing the best so that when I'm scanning through things, I can focus on what's the best, right? There's a natural inclination to always look at what's doing the worst and try to pick the underdog. Historically speaking, it's better to do it the other way around, to pick, to trade strength, to go with strength. That's also why, if you guys don't know, we've launched a brand new product at Trade Ideas, and this is a great one for people who are not, full-time at their desk all day long looking to trade. They're looking to do something kind of on the side, or really maybe their account's not big enough to justify the kind of full strength and program of Trade Ideas. What you can do is you can get this new product that's $17 a month that I created the algorithm behind, that basically gives you 5 strong stocks, rotating into those 5 strong stocks each and every week. They're just emailed to you, and you just take them from there. 1 second, that door is opening and closing. All right, and again, as we go through, ask questions. All right, if you're new to the channel, let's have a chat and you can learn more about me. If you've been around for a long time, we can just chat about the markets, what you're seeing, that type of thing. So what we're seeing here in the 2 largest performing over this last kind of 5 days is we're seeing real estate and we're seeing healthcare doing very well. We're seeing energy pull back a bit. Right, the rest are kind of around that break-even mark, so not very interesting. Now, I always like to go back and look year to date, which is telling us kind of what's happening this year. And the 3 sectors you can see that are killing it the most year to date are energy, financials, and real estate. So if you want it to play more or less like I do, where you follow strength, you're going to have your eyes on energy stocks, real estate stocks, and financials. Everything else seems to be doing okay. There's really nothing too much to stand out here. So then I'm going to do an actual analysis of those particular sectors, right? So we said XLE was performing well. This one's actually pulled back this week, though, we noticed. But it's still, I did a tweet last week that it looked like it was going to roll over and die. And it rolled over for one day and then it held. So this kind of area of support, I should just do these drawings here. These areas of support that we're seeing kind of in this zone, we should keep an eye on. I think this kind of 47-ish area for XLE is going to be the be-all, end-all. If we break that, we could have some problems. If we go down, we look at, what else was it? XLF. Financials, near highs, actually closed a little bit stronger on Friday than the market did. So financials doing very well. Again, just insane uptrend. Could easily pull back to here and still be very bullish. Could still even pull back to here and be very bullish. And there we go. First question, what's the core of XLE? Oil, natural gas, coal, basically anything that's, think your old dirty energies, right? There's not, in XLE, there's not a lot of, your really high-end energies, your new solar, wind, that type of stuff. And what's cool is you can actually go into on Koifin. Again, this is a free, of the things you're seeing on my screen, I'm affiliated with Trade Ideas. I couldn't live without Trade Ideas. I use TrendSpider for some charting. They're both on my website, which you can always find in the link below. But yeah, you can go to this Koifin here and you can put XLE and we can click on that. And then we can say we want the holdings. And it will bring up a little report here to say, okay, what is in XLE? So you're talking MRO, XOM, CVX, right? Pretty much all energy. So oil, gas is most of it. There's some other stuff there. And then you can see here, right, ExxonMobil, Chevron, EOG, Schlumberger, ConocoPhillips, Marathon Petroleum. So it's like mostly oil, natural gas, that type of stuff. Dirty, right? So the moral of the story, right, we're seeing oil, real estate, and financials, which are technically considered value stocks or just boring stocks. They're lifting the market. Your Teslas, your Palantirs, like these type of things that were really hyped up through 2020, 2019, these type of things, they've kind of fallen out of favor a bit. And then all of the dirty companies, the gross companies, those are the ones that are really lifting the market. So the last one I want to look at is XLRE, which, geez, real estate, just, right? There's really nothing to say here, just on fire. Housing prices, I'm hearing in most of the world, right? Here's the 2019 height, so we're above that. I know housing prices around me are insane. I'm talking to other people all around the world. They're saying housing prices are going insane. Lumber prices are going insane. So it makes sense that real estate as a whole is doing certainly very well. All right, so that's our market analysis. Everything looks strong. Boring stocks continue to outperform fun to play stocks. Just remember that when you're going through your scanning, that maybe something that you'd like, oh, this would be a really good play last year may not be as good of a play right now. So now let's take a look at these short videos. And again, if you're not sure, if you're new to the channel, hello, thanks for coming. I do these videos. Let's just bring in this, like that. I do these videos every day where it's just this is a stock I'm watching today. I do 5 of them a week, right? I try to do one serious video, one educational type video, and then we have the live streams that we do every week, right? They just show up my channel as normal. This is my back, right, where you can see, I don't know what this is, but I'm getting rid of that. But you can see, right, if you want to go the last few weeks, you can check out those as well. And that's kind of the way the channel is going. So again, 5 of these short videos that will just give you stock to look at, 1 long video that will hopefully, long 10 minutes or so, that will hopefully give you some education on trading, and then 1 live stream, and then where we go. So what I like to do is I always want to, because I get requests on the channel and I think it's valuable, is to see how I traded and if I traded these particular names and how I did them, so that you guys can say, okay, not only is he calling them out, he's coming back and telling you how he did it all. So first is CVM. And CVM is kind of the story of the entire week for me. We were looking at CVM. Let me actually load up the video. Right, so you can see I'm looking at CVM right here at 1747. That's about where I got the trade. So I bought right over this line right here, call it 1750 or so. And then the theory behind this one, again, I want to spend some time on this one because it was so good, was, let's zoom back just a little bit here. Basically what I noticed was, if we go way, way back, there we go, is this 1750 area, this red dotted line, was support all throughout here. Then when it broke that, it took this huge run up and then came back down and tested 1750 and held again for another little bounce here. And then it broke below 1750, and you can see 1750 was resistance here as well. So that was the number, right? That was the number that everyone seemed to be watching. And if everybody is watching a number, the odds are that that's where that stock's going to react. So stop losses would get triggered at that area. Things would spike if they go through them, hopefully. And then the other reason, and the main reason I was looking at this, was this 25% short float. So very, very short and at an area of inflection. Also, right, if I'm one of these 25% of the entire float that's short and I saw this, I'm thinking that if we start moving again, that could happen again. So I'm going to panic out of my short. That was the theory behind it. Again, it came in an optimized scan of stocks that are squeezing, and it was squeezing in this area here. So I knew just on the merits of the scan itself, if it broke out, there was 55% chance or so we were moving higher. We broke. I put all of this live on Twitter, right? I put I generally respond if I have good trades from the videos I post. I will respond to that thread. So I did. I talked about. I said, hey, CVM's breaking out here. This is where I took it. This is where I got out some. This is where I got out some. And again, so took it over 1750, out a chunk on the next day's close, out a chunk more on this day here, and holding, I believe, 100 shares left of a 350, I think, share position. I'm trying to remember. But basically locked in enough profit that if the thing gaps down to like $10 tomorrow, it's still a good trade. So I'm holding that last bit. I've got to stop at break even, and then I'm just going to trail the stop up as it goes. Again, I always like to keep a small runner for the just in case. So that's CVM. Again, that's the story of the week. That's why I spent so much time on it. The rest of it's going to be pretty boring because PBR. PBR, I did pick some up on after the call, just still in it, right? It's still basically watching this uptrend, seeing if it's going from there, as we talked about. With PBR is oil and gas related, right? Crude oil for Brazil. So it's in a sector that's strong. This particular stock's not strong, but the sector's strong. It's got a nice pattern that I like. It came from an optimized scan. So I'm in and just kind of holding on with that. Then we had SPTN. And SPTN I haven't done anything with yet. It just didn't give me a shot. I should turn this off so things look a little bit better. I was hoping that we would hold up in this area, up and call it 2050, and move higher. Just nothing happened there. INO didn't trade, but thankfully didn't trade because this one had a pretty gnarly gap down. Right, so I was looking at it in this area. I wanted to see kind of a break and a hold above here, and just gap down lower. So this one is just off my watch list entirely. I'm not interested in this until it's kind of, time has gone by and another pattern has formed. And last but not least, APT. Now APT, I am in. This one I'm in a little bit smaller because normally, if you guys have followed me for any length of time, I usually keep like really tight stops. If I was in APT here, usually my stop would go here. But what I did is I bought a feeler position, so about 1/3 of what I want as a full position, but I've put my stop under this area because unlike a lot of the triangle type patterns that I like to trade, this one's a nice big rounded bottom. And those ones sometimes can take a long period of time to just mature. So what I'm hoping is that if this thing chops around, it's going to give me more opportunity to load up more of a position. But it does look like, this random bottom could just kind of go from here. So I just want to make sure I have some. But again, the plan is to trade this pattern, maybe take some pullbacks and scalp out. So this one's a little bit, I generally don't like talking about the trades that I do that kind of stuff in because it's not really helpful to you guys. I do a lot of it where I will, Bitcoin is a perfect example, right? I've been short, and I told you guys when I was short and why I was short. But if we zoom into this on the 4-hour chart, I've been scalping around this short a lot. So, I took the short in through here. We sold off. I had bids already waiting to get some out here, right? And then I shorted some more as we pulled off this high and covered some more here. And I shorted some more off this high and covered some more here. And I've shorted some more here. And then I've covered, right? So, I like to talk about my overall trade is short. But what I'll do is say I have, $50,000 of Bitcoin short. I will, scalp out 10,000 and then look to reload 10,000 and then scalp out 10,000 and look to reload. So then what happens if we just do this for a long period of time? I'm not losing on it. And then basically how I'm doing it is I'm just waiting for the bounce to look like it's going to start coiling over, right? So one of those shorts would have been done right here, one of them right here, one of them right here, one of them right here kind of thing where it's like, I'm not trying to pick the tops. I'm waiting for them to break a bit, but that's trade around stuff. And trade around stuff is just complicated to describe. And it's one of those just hours in the chair type of thing. Probably going to wish I got out more. That's bottoming tails are interesting. Right? Because let's do that a little better. Let's do it with this one. You see that this area right here, call it, 50,000, 51,000 area, you can see the bottoming tails that have occurred in through here all the time, right? So if we can't get a hold above here on this candle's close and we start to move higher, I'll probably cover more. And then if we looks like we're struggling up in this area again, I will short more. And then, right, it's one of those things. How's the commissions for BTC? It's good. So I trade through Kraken. Part of the reason, and this is another thing I don't talk about too much with you guys, but I have crypto business relationships, right? Where I'm doing consulting work and trading work and everything with crypto related companies and consulting with them for different things from trading to analysis to cybersecurity and just, again, all kinds of crazy shit. So I have a Kraken account because I'm associated with them with these other things and blah blah blah. And it's not much. I think it's like 10 basis points per trade. But it's one of those things. It's like the more you trade, the lower your commission. So your commission is going to be different than my commission and all that kind of stuff. There are some free options out there for Bitcoin trading, but what I like about Kraken is I get 5 times margin and I can short. They also have a futures trading product that is, another miles above their normal product. So again, I won't make anything if you use Kraken, but I do use them for both personal and business type things. Do I use Bollinger Bands for them? I use I scan with Bollinger Bands. I'm using them more and more. So if you guys are noticing, you're seeing Bollinger Bands more and more on my charts. I like the concept, not so much in the way that some people use Bollinger Bands, which they use them as a revision to the mean type thing. For me, I like my trading style has a lot to do with periods of congestions and then periods of expansions. When it comes to trading, I look for stocks that were strong and now congesting and then breaking out of that strength type of thing. So to do that, I basically look at Bollinger Bands tightening. Some call it a TTM squeeze. There's all types of ways for it, but basically just a consolidation in the bands. So the bands of themselves are not magic. It's a 20-period moving average plus or minus 2 standard deviation. It is kind of as bone simple as one could have it. So I don't, really believe in you should use the indicator, but I just like the concept for scanning. And I'm just actually loading up my Kraken account on my iPad here right now, just watching it because I'm covering it, looking to maybe cover a little bit more, maybe flip. I don't know if we really hold strong here, maybe I'll flip long. I am not, even though I do have some crypto interests, I'm not a hodler. I'm not this is going to change the world forever, blah, blah, blah. I'm a trader. So I try very hard to be as detached as one can be with that type of thing. So that's just how I work. So I bought the book by Bollinger. I've met John Bollinger. He's a great guy. His Twitter is hilarious. Just because he's just old man ripping on people and he does a great job at it. It's a very interesting theory. Again, the concept is just that the one thing that we know in trading that actually is mean reverting is volatility, right? We go through periods of high volatility and we go through periods of low volatility. So if you can use something like a Bollinger Band or Keltner channel or TTM squeeze or whatever to make sure that you're, participating in periods of low volatility and that you're, then taking profits and getting out when there's periods of high volatility, that's more or less how I've been trading for years anyway. So Bollinger and Bollinger Bands for me are one of those things that I am, I am very much interested in things that I do anyway that I am then learning to do better now, right? So it's like I always traded this style, but now I'm kind of seeing a guide or so for this style. So as I come up with new products and services for you guys, I'm looking to be a little bit more algorithmically inclined with them, and that's the kind of stuff. And again, we'll talk about the Stats Edge trade product at the end of this. I think I figured out exactly all I want to give you guys and the price and everything. It's really just getting off my ass and doing it. Just how it goes. All right, so we did the market wrap up. We did the strategies wrap up. Shoot the shit. Ask questions in the chat. I'm going to do some scanning. So I always ask, this is the best time for questions because scanning is one of those things that's kind of boring. So it's probably the best time to shoot the shit. This LTHM, and I'm actually going to close. What even is this button? I don't know. I'm going to close that. And I'm actually going to just use the trade ideas chart just because of the speed when I'm scanning through them. It's like I have, generally speaking, I've got this giant monitor in front of me, and then I've got this other monitor to the side. I use trade ideas for its speed in scanning and its speed and alerting and all of these things. I say that as everything's kind of grinding to a halt here. And then I use TrendSpider for more detailed analysis, right? So I always say I love TrendSpider, but I couldn't live without trade ideas, right? I could function. Jeez, what's going on here? Let's do like a refresh or something. So back to our Bollinger Band talk. There we go. Oh, there we go. That's much better. This scan that we're going through here is one that's looking for tightening of Bollinger Bands. You can do this with customs, that type of thing. Kraken Technical. Yeah, so what it's looking for is it's looking for bands that are unusually tight, right? They're tighter than normal. So what I like to do is I like to look for stocks that, using that as a caveat of this is what I'm interested in trading, I will then go from there and say, okay, well, this is what I'm interested in trading because they're getting tight, and now let me do my analysis on top of those. Again, I'm looking to find stocks to trade for next week, and then I'm also trying to look for those short videos I showed you. I will do one right after we end here and upload that so that you guys have access to that as well. And then again, I always talk about the product that I'm working on at the end, my theory being the diehards that are still here listening to me ramble on this beautiful Saturday afternoon for an hour are going to be more or less the clientele for it. So those are the people that I'm going to be the most interested in when it comes to their analysis. So remember, we talked about energy, financials, and real estate were doing the best. But these value stocks as a whole have been doing very, very well. So I'm actually really like the look of Macy's here. Just because it was strong, right? Very strong out of the base here. I actually had Macy's. I remember trading Macy's in this area. So again, let me look. It seems like it's coming through the stream. I use these bars very, very light because I don't want to notice them too much, so they don't generate my trading too much. But with these Bollinger Bands, you can see they started to condense right here. They started to get very, very tight. And then when we broke out and we closed above them, off to the races. Now we're tightening up. We're getting very, very tight. So maybe it's time to wait for a close above these. Again, I don't think the bands mean anything, but you can see that both times the bands also corresponded with an area of resistance. So if we break and we hold above this area of resistance, right, maybe it's time for another shot. We're still showing a 12% short float, and we've got 2 weeks until earnings. So Macy's so far, I'm going to just pop in a price alert there, is super interesting to me. So that's going to be one of the first ones that I take a look at. CGen, research and development out of Israel, I think. That's a nice looking little chart. This would be more of a scalp, right? Because this area right here that was support before, you'd be watching to see if it was potential resistance later. So that kind of means that you could maybe get up to $11, $11.50 a share, and you're entering at $9 a share. So you can make $2. Maybe you can risk $1 doing it. A good looking pattern, but just not interested. I'm again looking for strength. This one, easy open parent. Just trying to, it's blank check company. Okay. SPAC. I like to look at IPOs, and I basically like to look at IPOs for the Anchored VWAP. If you want to know more about Anchored VWAP, I can talk about it, but Brian Shannon from alphatrends.net is your guy. He's kind of the founder, owner, operator, godfather, whatever you'd like to call him. Essentially, this purple line here is the average price that everybody has paid for this stock since it came public, but SPACs are kind of out of favor right now. Before, you could buy any SPAC that went live and just be loving life. And it's just not that. It's not that world anymore. And I feel bad for some traders. There's many traders out there that I'm hearing from that are finally getting a lesson that this shit ain't easy. Because it was easy for a while. And I remember making comments to you guys in these live streams saying, it just seems too easy right now. Like everything, there was probably a 3-4 month period there where it's like everything I touched was pure gold. And I think as a new trader, that's something that will get you in trouble because you'll think that's the way it goes. That's the way trading works. As you get over time more experience with it, you'll realize that's not how trading goes. So during that time, I was really swinging for the fences because I knew that there would be a time that it wouldn't work. So my equity curve from I'll draw it out, from mid last year, looks like this. But then I had one of these, right? So I didn't give back all of the gains, but I gave back a solid chunk of the gains. And then now I've just been doing this for the last 2-3 months, again, hoping for that next real banger. DVD is very interesting to me. I'm going to add this one to the list. I like, it's in more IT and technical stuff, but that's fine. It's a very, very strong stock that's just pulled back, and it's just kind of basing here. Bands are getting incredibly, incredibly tight as things kind of chop along. So again, looking to see if we get another push higher there. So that one's interesting. This must be this is simulated. I was like, what the hell do I have orders down here for? Must have been a sim trade. Let's get out of here. ABMC. Car is kind of interesting here. Looking at this more as a broadening formation, which are kind of rare, right? But these broadening formations can be pretty powerful. Essentially just meaning that the stock is increasing in volatility. So instead of, normally we look for triangles and congestion patterns, this is a way you can look for widening and broadening patterns and then kind of shoot from there, right? So you can, so again, if it breaks up, maybe we kind of come and retest this, which would also be a gap fill. So now is when we do the numbers, right? See, that's only $17 right there. So it's like I could make $2, but I'm going to risk 50 cents to $1 to do it. And that's just not that interesting to me. I'm very much an asymmetric risk reward trader. And essentially what that means is that I understand that my win rate is never going to be phenomenal. It took me years to get there, but it means that I understand that my win rate is always going to be about 55 to 60%. And, I spent years trying to up that number. And then the second I stopped caring is when my trading got really good, because I just kind of internalized that it's not gonna work, right? So we're gonna move on and go from there. So got a question from WCC. What happened to the strategy you're doing last year on a weekly basis where I took too long and too short stocks, held them for the week? It seemed very profitable. I still do that. In fact, part of the product that I was just showing you guys with trade ideas, which I can paste here as well, right here. which is the TI strength alerts, which is essentially looking at 5 long stocks and how well they perform. That spawned off of this same idea where I had an algorithm that I would run, and I would pick the 2 long and I'd pick the 2 shorts name and I'd trade them for a week and I'd rotate them in. I still do that, and it's just part of my trading. It's kind of what we're doing right now. Now, that being said, I went through the statistics of all of my trading, and this is just between us guys publicly on the internet. When I went through, I found out that my shorting sucked. It was not good. If I had gone through that whole year again and only took the long trades, it would have performed better. And this is trading. That's what trading is having a theory, trading it, testing it, but then always improving on it. So what I figured out, and this is why you notice that all of these short videos have been for long setups. It's because I'm not good at swing trading short. I'm just not. Which means what will happen is, and maybe that the market isn't inducive for that, but I think what that means is that when this bear market comes at some point, when it comes, I will not be looking to short as much as I'll be looking to play bounces, because bounces in a bear market are a good way to play long. Also means I moved a lot of my trading into my retirement account so that my profits are tax-free. That's another chat for another day. But yeah, so I still do the same type of mentality. It's basically I just do it more every day. That playlist, and the reason that I did that was more to teach you guys to say, hey, there's a way that you can trade without sitting in front of the computer all day. And then that's what we transformed into TI strength alerts. And if you're already a member, they're right here. So I actually just finished the playlist. Or the list, so I know what they are, but I can't tell you guys what they are. It's not really fair. But if you wanted to continue on with that series the same way I would take a look at these, right? So it gives you, as a Trade Ideas member, it gives you the email right here in the channel. It also gives you a weekly chart and a daily chart. And let's just go through last week's, right? So TTWO, I'm still in. I basically bought this one on a pullback to here. So I'm in right here. This one still looks great. DVAX is a bastard. I bought here. I sold a little bit here, and then I got stopped out the rest here for a loss. Probably net even or so total. CM, again, bought on a pullback to support. Just been great. Jupiter, I didn't do anything with yet, but I'm still watching this one. And what else? One more. BWA. BWA I didn't do anything with either. I basically want to see it chop around here for a while. So this right here, this product came off of, it spawned from that idea, right? It spawned from the fact that I realized that I could have a profitable trading style just by working that kind of 1 day a week. And it's what I do now. And you might like this as well, WCC. I'm going to go one step further with this soon in a series that I'm going to call The Last Hour Trader, where I'm going to open up an account or use part of my account, and I'm going to only trade the last 30 minutes of the day and spend the last 30 minutes of the day after the market closes scanning and blah, 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 blah. But it's just going to be that, and I'm going to record every day and every trade and upload it, good, bad, and ugly. You guys seem to like that, and I like being that guy who shows you when stuff sucks and when stuff doesn't. So again, if you're interested, oh, no problem, WCC. This is the strength alerts algorithm I ran. This was basically the orange line here is running, buying those five stocks, holding them until the next week, cycling out of the 5 stocks. No stop losses, no profit targets, nothing. Just you're in, and you're in fully. And again, you can see how well this outperformed the market. Now, What I hope is that by the context I put, I write a little description of each trade and what I think's interesting. By using risk management, by trading around these things, I hope that you can really rocket up that return. But in and of itself, this algorithm that I created still beats the market for sure. So yeah, so again, it's kind of cool, I guess. I never go back on my channel because it would just trigger me to no end, but it may actually be a pretty good documentary of how the genesis of a trader works. Because when I started, I was exclusively day trading, and not that, and then as things went out, I am still day trading, but I don't record a lot of it because I don't think there's too much benefit there. But I do some swing trading. And which actually leads me to another question. I was thinking of opening a prop account and starting to day trade the first hour of the day live on YouTube with a delay, but then making the same type of stream with no delay part of the TI or part of the Stats Edge trading product. I'm thinking that would be a while away. But I think that might be a cool way to do that. Smile Direct Club, I'm in. Did I make a video about? I didn't make a video about Smile Direct Club. I don't like making videos about stuff I'm already in, but I am in Smile Direct Club. Just FYI, 32% short. I bought it Thursday, right here, as we kind of broke this area right here, basically betting on a break of the tightening Bollinger Bands and seeing if we can get something crazy going. I like the look of this one just because $10 is an obvious area. You could buy in the $10 area, put a stop a little bit below $10. And even if it takes you 4 or 5 tries, we could do that. But again, the main reason I bought was this trend line break I've written in here. But I won't, I cannot in good conscience make those videos stocks that I am already in. It just wouldn't. Where were we around here? This wouldn't be right? That's fake guru shit where they, oh, look at this great stock that I just found, and they'd already loaded in a shit ton of. Just FYI, if you're ever wondering how warrior trading and all of those things make their money, I just explained it to you. They buy a bunch of stock on a stream with a delay and say, oh, I'm in. All of their followers go buy it, pushes the price up. It's why they all play low float momentum stuff all the time. It's because it's a lot easier to bully around. If you got a room of 1,000 people, and away you go. What's my trigger value for Bollinger Band squeeze? Technically speaking, it's an hour or it's a daily close or whatever time frame you're looking at. A candlestick close outside of the band. Oh, that one's interesting. 1 second here. So we're pulling back, right? We pull back to the breakout area. We're getting real tight here. I kind of like the look of this one. Just research it a bit more, but this one might be it. Yeah, so this one, for example, the technical trigger, if you're trading Bollinger Band squeezes, which is not exactly what I do, I just noticed that they seem to line up with trades that I already like, so that's why I'm playing with them a bit more. But yeah, it would be a close above the top band. And the reason a close above is just so that you don't get kind of wicked out. But right, just looking at this chart, you see the squeeze that's happening in through here, right? You had one close above that failed, right? We sold back, not very hard. You didn't fail that much. And then you had another close above after the squeeze, and that thing, tripled the stock price, right? And that's kind of the beauty of these type of plays is they're not going to be very accurate. They're going to be 50-50 area accurate. But on top of being 50-50 area accurate, they're also going to be very, when they go, right? Because it's this congestion of energy that's then released. you know, it's one of those things. It starts. That's why I like looking them on the short float side. So what you're looking at is Bollinger Bands that are short, are heavily shorted. And actually, we're getting to the point where they're not heavily shorted. So the three we're watching right now is M, DBD, and INMB. So we'll scan through this guy here. Played LVS. Yeah, well, and this is another way that I'm looking at Bollinger Bands as well. It's either a break of the top or a pullback to the bottom. But the problem, right, counter trend trading is a bit dangerous. But just note that although they are used for revision to the mean plays, it's not exactly how it was designed, and you know, can cause, I don't know. I don't like counter trend trading myself. I'm always looking to be a pullback trader, so it would be interesting to look for, you know, maybe build an algorithm of stocks that are moving up and pulling back to their Bollinger Band or something. And this 8, though, I'm interested in as well. I'll take a look here. We got 18% short float. We're getting a little bit tight here. And then on top of that, we just have this big pullback flag type pattern as well. Oh, AMC is perking up, eh? I still have the smallest amount of GME left. I told you my GME saga I bought right here, and I just kind of out on the way out. Still have just a tiny bit. I've got 100 shares, and I've been writing calls against it and making okay money actually writing calls against it, which is just hilarious. But it's one of those things that I've made enough on the trade that if that last 100 shares goes to zero, I'm still profitable on the position. So I'm just kind of holding it for just to see. If it starts to break down, I'll certainly be out. But PEB earnings are too close, but this one looks very nice. Pembroke. It's not but much of a mover though. So there just wouldn't be enough profit to get me, you know, where I want it to go in the time that I want to get there, kind of thing. I just can't hold into earnings unless I'm up big on the position. I've already taken out a lot of the money and that type of thing. Then I may, but just the way it stands now, absolutely not. I scrolled by it quick, but I kind of like this too. But again, is this one that I talked about already being in? No, it was Smile Direct Club, but I'm already in this one too. So I can't good conscience make this one the short video. But this was from the strength alerts last week. And what I did is, you know, I said, okay, the bottom of the Bollinger Band's right here. More importantly, this is where the last time we bounced was. The market was pulling back. So as it kind of came off that level a bit, I picked some up. I think I was in about the close of this day. So call it 733. And I just picked up, I think, 1,000 shares. Wanted to give it a bunch of room. And, you know, maybe, right? So now, you know, I'll certainly put my stop right down here, and I'll be out if things go bad below the support area. If we get up here, that might be an $800-900 trade. So not the best thing in the world, but shit, to me, $800-900 is still good. All of these therapeutic type names look good, but they're not nearly as fun to trade. So I think we're going to be looking at Macy's, guys, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I think that's going to be the move. Old Canada Goose. Oh, look at that. Not time for them, though. It's actually warm out today. Nice sunny day. IMAX earnings. Okay. And if I close that, that's going to be it, right? Oh, my rounded bottom scan. I'm not really a rounded bottom guy right now. You can see my trading and skills. I need to get those off that. This is, right, this all connected to a paper account, this one. So this one, right, again, technically closed outside the bands after the bands are squeezing. It's, again, I'm not using the bands. I'm just noting them because it's something I'm studying. But we have this tightening formation lower. We had an RSI divergence, which essentially just means if you look at the lows here, we're making lower lows. And then if you look at the lows of the RSI, we're making higher lows. So these sometimes actually produce a fair amount of power. I would kind of feel like I'm chasing it, but maybe over 75 would be the move. All right, I'm going to add that as well. So what do we got here? We got 5 stocks to watch next week. I think that's pretty good. Yeah. All right, guys. So before we go, again, I want to go over, because anyone who's still here an hour later is probably going to be the one that's interested in, let me first bring in this. And this is the video series that I'm thinking about. Just on a strategy that I'm building. You know, with the trades I show you guys, I want them to be very kind of systematic and controlled, because then that will be something that will make sense to you guys. You know, I want to remove as much of my skill as a trader from the things I show you as much as I can. Because if I just say, oh, yeah, I bought it here because it looked like it had bottomed out, you know, that's one of those, maybe 10,000 hours of trading has told me that, but that doesn't really help you. Or if I say, oh, it's for this specific reason, I think that helps you guys out a lot more. So for the last hour trader, I'm thinking a YouTube series where I'm going to do 2 algorithms to trade based off market analysis, which I'm using breakouts and squeezes. So breakouts in strong markets and bounces in weak markets. So the theory would be is I would either take part of, you know, say my retirement account, because they're all going to be long trades, or open up another account somewhere or something. And what I will do is trade these 2 strategies. So Bollinger Band squeeze break, as we talked about, that uses the Bollinger Band on top of, you know, whatever else I decide to put in it, and a pullback algorithm that I've been working on with Bollinger Bands and seems to work pretty well. But the point of it is that I would, you know, turn on a stream or a recording or something, you know, 30 minutes before the close, enter all of the trades and do everything like that live, or, you know, record it in real time. I would show you guys that part of the portfolio. If it's going to be part of my main account, or, you know, maybe I allocate 10K or 20K or something to this particular strategy. You know, track out all the trades, put all the trades here, and, you know, actually looking at being able to open up the trades and see them all here. This will be part of the TI, or the, too much going on, the Stats Edge trading product. So that's interesting. So I'm thinking of doing that. Again, more YouTube series is interesting. Plus, this is basically a strategy that I've tested in paper, and these kind of Bollinger Band breakouts are something I've been doing live for a while. But I kind of want to just systematize and make it part of my repertoire, along with, you know, all the other types of trading that I do. So that's what I'm thinking for the YouTube series. Again, feedback and all of that thing is certainly appreciated. And now for the Stats Edge product, I really haven't added any to this. Again, I just want the feedback of the people here who are probably the diehards. Again, you don't need to give it to me here. You can always go to statsedgetrading.com, which I please always encourage everybody to go to, and to sign up on this list at the bottom of the page. Anyone who is here will attest, or anyone who's signed up and who is here will attest that I don't spam you. I'm not going to spam you. I don't sell your email list. I don't do any of this. The email list is for two reasons. The first one is that I email people when I'm going to go live. I email if there's something that I did that I'm particularly proud of, I'll email out to everybody. The second part of it is the people on the email list will get the first crack at the Stats Edge trading product, which I will be capping at 100 people to begin with, and I'll probably be capping it at 100 people for 6 months or longer. Again, I want to make sure that everybody is getting what they feel they need out of the product, and that everybody is getting what they feel. I want people to get 10 times the value than they feel that they're actually getting or actually paying for. So again, that's what that's for. So you don't need the feedback here. But what I'm thinking of doing, again, is a Discord group for you guys. Discord, Signal, Slack, doesn't matter. Some messaging app group, which I will be in sometimes, certainly not always. The point of this is to kind of give you guys a closer look over my shoulder in a way that doesn't make a whole bunch of work for me, but hopefully provides a bunch of value for you and then provides money for me, right? Because what kind of trader would I be, right? My scans, which again will just be from TrendSpider, TradingView, mostly Trade Ideas, which is where I do most of my scanning. I will just put up the scans that I can share directly right up there so that you can just grab those. And as I build new scans, as I remove old ones, all of that, I'll constantly be updating that. So at any time you can just go and say, okay, what's Mike using for scans right now? Grab them, away you go. Access to my trading journal. And my trading journal is where, right, I will talk about a trade I took, where I took it. I'll annotate up the chart on why I took the trade. And then as the trade develops, I'll continue to add to that journal entry. I do it in Notion here. And then at the end of that, you'll have a description of, right, Mike bought the stock here for this reason. He sold it here, he sold it here, he sold it here. Again, not an alert service. I'm not going to ever do an alert service. I will do an education service, which is the goal here. And then a private Twitter. So a Twitter in which I'm going to post, things like stocks that I'm watching that day, things that are more real-time focused. One of the reasons I like using a Twitter account is because that Twitter account will be only business, right? Just 100%. There'll never be a dog picture or something. That will be on my personal Twitter account, along with I'll still be posting the more vague stuff that I do. But the Twitter account will be like, hey, this stock is interesting at this level for this reason, tweet. And then what people can do is they can if you hit the bell when you've got Twitter and you got notifications put on, it will actually push that notification right to your phone. So if you're doing something else, I put out a tweet, you'll see it. And it's a way to say, hey, you're only going to get from this Twitter account trading related things, right? Look at this area in the market, blah, blah. And it's a way to alert it. Where again, the Discord group is going to be more shoot the shit. And then monthly webinars in which all members can come in. I'm going to do a Zoom thing. It's going to be just private to just the members. I'm not going to put it on YouTube or anything. So that if someone wants to come on and really have a chat or ask questions or whatever, I can actually give them, a mic and say, here, chat. And then, so I'm thinking, 49 USD a month for that. And we're going to cap it at 100 people. And then we're just going to see how it goes. If everybody's happy and everyone likes it, and I actually get to 100 people, I highly doubt there'll be that many to start with. Then we'll see about expanding everything out from there. So that's what I'm thinking. Again, feedback doesn't need to be here in a public form. You can go to statsedgetrading.com, fill out this. It pops me a little message there. I've got the message of the people who've already asked to be members. And again, if you're on the list, you get in for sure. Like that I can promise you. So that's it, guys. So that's what we're thinking about the markets. That's what we're thinking about new products in the future. The stock that I'm going to talk about for the short video that I'm going to do right now is Macy's. And we're just going to see if maybe we can get another pop from, say, $17 up to $20. So if we can make $3 a share, and knowing me, I'll only risk about 50 cents a share. So that'll be 6 times R if I make it. And if not, it'll just be on to the next trade. So as always, thank you everybody for coming out. On your way out, if you could hit the like button, YouTube just says, "Hey man, tell people to hit the like button, because then we'll share your video with more people." I guess that's just how it all works. But again, appreciate everyone for coming. That video that I'm just talking about now will be up on the channel sometime this evening. No, it'll probably actually be tomorrow. I'll set to go live tomorrow. Just that's when most people watch my videos. But basically, we're looking at Macy's. We're looking at the short float. We're looking at the tightening that's happening here on this stock that's been incredibly strong. And it's a value stock, and value stocks have been doing very well. So again, thank you everyone for coming out, and I will talk